Tomorrow, the Armory is turning 1 year old, and we will probably see an update along with that. But that 1 year anniversary also comes with a lot of grief. Because 1 year ago, our last hope of ever getting another operation was killed. Never again would we get those exciting maps, missions, themed collections, agents, stickers, memes, and, of course, legendary release videos.
Its wild, fear-filled eyes. Is that a fucking helicopter?
Well, you would think so, right? So today we look back at the operations of the past. We look at the probable update they will release tomorrow, and we will also discuss the possibility of Valve releasing an operation in 2025. Because all of these things are related more than you think. So sit back and let me show you what is about to happen in CS2. Valve have released operations since the very beginning of CSGO, and they never really stopped after that. The time between operations got longer as it went on, but it never really went away. This was the first ever operation in CSGO. But it didn't even have any skins. That's because it was released before the Armsteel update that would go on to change the entire game forever. Skins were released during the end of this operation, and thus it was purely about content. New maps, and a coin to upgrade as you spend time on those new maps. That was it. The money made from the pass would go to the map creators, or at least a big part of that. And that was it. Also, that's where the name comes from, Payback. It only cost about $5.99 back then, which seems like a steal nowadays. Operations used to be about content and giving back to the community and its creators. Over time, Valve changed the system bit by bit until there was no hint of this original ID left. With Operation Bravo, they added the signature Operation exclusive weapon cases and Operation exclusive weapon collections, which nowadays contain basically all of the OG insanely rare and legendary skins. The Alp Dragonlore, the Alp Gungnir, the Medusa, the Wild Lotus, the AK Gold Arabesque. I can continue doing this basically forever. Name me a skin that is on that level of legendary that comes from a case, or from the Armory, for example. There aren't any. Well, I think there's only two. The M4 Howl, which is only special because of the huge mistake that Valve made, and the AK Case Hardened, which is only special because of the insane patterns. And both of those are either no longer accessible, or insanely hard to get from an insanely expensive case. Apart from that, all the top tier skins in CS2 are from operations. That's why it's such a big deal that Valve have done away with the operations system. But this system didn't last. They added more and more monetization and skins into operations, which eventually took over. The content took the back burner, and skins became the main focus. It became more and more a battle pass type system. They added stickers, they added agents. They added the option to do the operation pass multiple times, because you could just farm the skins. And look where we are now. Operations are over. They aren't a seasonal thing anymore. Coins are a thing of the past too. Content, it doesn't exist anymore. You can even do 5 passes at the same time. No missions, nothing, just skins. It's quite sad really. But does that mean we will never get another operation? I mean, after all, Valve can release an operation alongside their current Armory system. Even if they don't do it for the money. They could just do it for the content, right? Well, let's look at this chart I made. This is the time between operations as of right now. As you can see, at the beginning of operations there was often only 2 to 3 weeks between the ending of one operation and the start of the next. It was so short in fact, back then the operation collections used to just be reused with the next operation. Only getting removed gradually as the maps were retired. But essentially, over time, the amount of days just grew alongside the price trend of many old CSGO cases. Essentially just exponentially up. Look at this chart. All it does is go up. There is a bit of a dip right there when they realized that operations were quite profitable and they started releasing them more often, but they seem to have forgotten all about that. Right now, it's been more than 1,300 days since the last CS operation took place. That's more than 3.5 years ago. So let's be realistic. Valve are probably not releasing an operation soon. They might, but I don't think it's very likely. But that does leave us with many questions. The current Armory collections have no greys. And thus the reds from them are 10 times more common than operation collections used to be. So will we ever get new operation type collections with the full rarity scale from grey all the way to red? And another thing, if there are no more operation collections coming, where does that leave the Armory? Will it only ever be a recycling shop like all the other games already have? Only difference here is that it's CS2 items that are worth money and not useless skins from other games, but does that make a difference? Well, I don't want to be quite so pessimistic quite yet. There are a lot of opportunities for Valve. The fact that the system works like this right now says nothing about what they can't add. More missions or things to do in game is always an easy option. This thing is a good start, but it is very boring and limited. No creativity. Plus, what about other things? What about agents? Agents have been doing amazing lately, in price at least, since the last time we got any of those is also many years ago. They were only released with operations after all, and it's been a long time since we've seen one. But Valve could easily release new ones with the Armory. It would fit right in. I think that long term, that is a thing that they will definitely do, just to spice it up. So wait, the Armory is still turning 1 year old tomorrow. So what will they do? Well, I think they will celebrate. The 3 collections with the last chance text on them will be removed and new items will be added. Definitely a new and exciting case, plus a new collection of skins. Probably also a new sticker collection to replace the one that they are removing. If they put zero effort in, that's basically where it all will stop. But they could also add some new agents, new charms, a new special item. They could even overhaul the entire system. All of this is possible. Now I want to talk about the new case. They will almost certainly release a new case, because the cases from the Armory have been some of the most successful things that Valve have ever released. And I think that the case will contain new glove finishes. Here's why. The newest knife finishes or gloves we got were the knife finishes released with the Fever case, the Shattered Web knives in new finishes. Before that we got an entirely new knife, the Kukri knife, and even further back we have gotten more new knives, or at least knife skins. But new gloves? Well, that's years and years ago at this point. And it used to be that people had a thing for knives and thought that gloves were just trash. But nowadays that script is flipped a bit, because you can see gloves alongside every other skin you own, whilst the knife you only use when you hold that. The same now goes for agents too, especially with the new main screen. So if there is huge demand for gloves, we could very well see gloves. Talking about knives, we've seen all the options that they can do for now, so it's probably time to switch it up. And I do think that the 1 year anniversary for the Armory does deserve something special, like new gloves. Who knows what they can do? After all, gloves were only ever released in CSGO. We've not had any new gloves designed with the new CS2 ways of working. And there are many great options to do. At the end of this video, you will have the opportunity to see what new gloves could look like. Anyways, look, I have to be honest with you. Valve is lazy, very lazy. And operations cost time and effort. So listen loud and clear when I say this. The chance that Valve will actually release an operation anytime soon is small. They already have the Armory, which is essentially the old operation system built in the new CS2 client as a permanent shop. And it's wildly successful. So I think the chance to get an update to the Armory is way more likely. They could even do a mini sort of operation that is integrated into the Armory. But who knows? It would be a shame if we never again got those super rare 1 in 4,000 reds with those legendary operation collections. That would make all of those old skins way more desirable. But yeah, Valve might have just decided that those epic things are a thing of the past. All of this is good for most of our investments, but it is bad for the game and its content. No new content generates no hype for the game. If you've never lived through an operation before, well, let me tell you how insane people go. Operations used to hype up the community like nothing else. Many people who used to play the game return simply because there is an operation going on. It was insanity. Most of the best memories I have of the game is from playing the Broken Fang operation back in the day. It was so much fun to do with friends. And it wasn't just good for us players. Remember that Valve's most important metric is how many people play the game. If CS2 is relevant and millions of people play it, people will open many cases. A new operation gives them more ways to make money, but it also adds more fuel to the CS2 fire. More players and those players opening cases, and all of that is why the all-time highs for case opening numbers are all during operations. Because the insane hype for the game makes people spend money on other things like nothing else. So don't think Valve would be doing this just for us. Okay, well, all of this is well and good, but I know that you want me to say it. What if? What if they do release a new operation in 2025? What then? Well, there's only really one way to do that if you are Valve. If you want to do it and make it a big success, you have to go all out. You have to have a dedicated team to work on this, who make actual good content for the game. An operation like nothing you've ever seen before. The entire storyline, the insane release trailer, new and exciting items like charms, patches and agents, or something new, right? And also release new items from all of those types too, plus of course collections and cases. Make the insanely rare covert operation items return and give people a very fun way to play the new operation. Make it stand out from the Armory. Make it the biggest and baddest operation there ever was. Put the focus back on the content instead of making money. That wouldn't need to be the goal. They already make plenty of money from everything else. This would be a gift for the community. A yearly or bi-yearly thing to get people excited to check into CS2 every single day. Something to excite us, because the updates have gotten very stale. Make the people who play the game see the Armory as a boring and simple new normal, which is always there, compared to this new and exciting operation. It would have more items than ever, more things to do than ever, things to complete with friends, things to do alone, all game modes involved, creative tasks or challenges or whatever, maybe a new game mode entirely. And maybe, just maybe, we see something like this one day. But don't count on it. No promises. Well, that's it for me. Be sure to watch this website over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm fairly sure we will get an update with this 1-year anniversary for the Armory. And if we do, I'll be the first to let you know. So get subscribed and get excited for so much more to come. Oh, and by the way, since I promised you gloves, go watch this video next. I promise that there are a ton of mockups in there of what new gloves could look like. And I also talk a ton more about why gloves are superior choices to knives for Valve. And most of those reasons apply right here, right now, still. And with that, I'll see you guys later. If you're still watching, you are truly awesome. Thank you. Goodbye.